and the death penalty remains an option in Missouri for the foreseeable future.
St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Leila Fadel.
And I'm A. Martinez.
And I'm Michael Hill. Marketplace Morning Report is next, and later on Morning Edition, couples getting engaged can mark the moment with an engagement ring. Couples getting married can mark the occasion with a wedding ring. Now, one jewelry designer is offering breakup rings to celebrate the strength and courage of people living single after divorce. We'll have that story coming up on Morning Edition. 53 and sunny right now. On our way to a mostly sunny day and a high of 74 in the city. We cool off tomorrow with a chance of morning rush hour showers and mostly cloudy skies. Once again, 53 and sunny. On our way to a high of 74. It's 6:51.
WNYC supporters include Optimum Business, offering business fiber with speeds up to 8 gig. More information is available at 855-2-OPTIMUM or at optimum.com/business.
Celebrate National Poetry Month with WNYC. Continuing our annual tradition, we're airing listener-submitted poems every day on Morning Edition. Now, for the first time, some of those poets will share their work live in the green space. Join Michael Hill for this evening of spoken word and community connection. Find tickets for April 19th at wnyc.org/thegreenspace.
Some entrepreneurship in the news desert.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by the Financial Times, the pink paper whose fearless journalism offers unique perspectives on American news. There's more at ft.com. And by Viking, exploring the world in comfort. With a fleet of small ships, Viking offers travel experiences for the thinking person. Discover more at Viking.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in New York. First, just ahead of jury selection, Tesla has settled a civil case involving how the EV company marketed its driver assistance system. The settlement comes even though Tesla had prevailed in 2 earlier lawsuits over Autopilot. Marketplace's Nova Safo is here with more.
4 years ago, a Tesla plunged into a concrete barrier along Highway 101 in California's Silicon Valley. It was going 70 miles per hour. The driver behind the wheel, Walter Wong, died. Evidence suggests he had engaged the car's driver assistance feature, known as Autopilot, and was playing a video game. As in other incidents involving Autopilot, Tesla blamed Wong, pointing out that it tells drivers to remain attentive when the system is engaged. In 2 previous lawsuits, juries sided with Tesla, finding no manufacturing flaw. But in suing the company, Wong's family said he was lulled into complacency by the way Autopilot had been marketed. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has examined hundreds of accidents in which there were claims that Autopilot was in use. Tesla said in court filings that it settled the case to end years of litigation. The financial amount was not disclosed. Other plaintiffs could see this as the first crack in Tesla's defense. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Stock index futures about 2.5 hours before the markets open in earnest. The Dow futures are down 0.1%, same with S&P futures. NASDAQ futures now down 0.2%. You may remember back in 2016 the trove of files that came to light revealing who was hiding what money using a law firm in Panama. The leak of 11 million documents became known as the Panama Papers, highlighted how the rich and powerful conceal their wealth and in some cases dodge taxes. Now the trial has begun in Panama City. Here's the BBC's Ione Wells.
The leak implicated more than 100 politicians, including heads of state and government, billionaires and sports stars. The leak showed how clients of the now defunct Panamanian law firm called Mossack Fonseca were able to launder money, dodge sanctions and avoid tax. If the founders of the firm are found guilty, they could face up to 12 years in prison. The law firm has since closed down, but its founders have claimed neither they, the firm, or its employees were involved in unlawful acts.
The BBC's Ione Wells.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. With Schwab investing themes, people can invest in ideas they believe in, like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, pet passion, and more. Over 40 themes to choose from. More at schwab.com. And by C3 Generative AI. Verified, traceable answers, secure, hallucination-free, LLM-agnostic, IP liability-free. Learn more at c3.ai.
This winter, ahead of the big round of primary elections, I visited several of more than 200 U.S. counties where local news is hard to find. It's part of our ongoing Democracy in the Desert series as voters struggle to get the information they need at a time that traditional newspapers are in decline, and as one scholar told us, all politics has become national. We've also been highlighting solutions, but do they add up? Today, let's turn to Tim Franklin, Senior Associate Dean and Professor at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism that has a local news initiative. Professor, welcome.
David, good to be with you.
So it's not just all the desertification process here. I mean, good old American entrepreneurship seems to be coming to bear in some spots. Are you encouraged at some level?
You know, what we're living through is a historic tectonic change in how news is produced, consumed, and paid for. But that said, there are some new innovations that are happening in local news that I think are showing some promise for the future.
Our friends in the UK have a system where you have to pay a license for your TV, and that helps underwrite some coverage. What are we doing here that stands out for you? Give me some examples.
There are examples, I think, of legacy news organizations that are successfully pivoting from print to digital and also from an advertising-based business model to a reader revenue business model. And then you look at some of the new models. So there's been a bit of a trend of converting for-profit news organizations to nonprofit status. Two of the most prominent examples are the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Salt Lake Tribune. You know, and we're also seeing for-profit and nonprofit digital startups that are filling voids in the market.
Now, I noticed part of your report focuses on some bipartisan legislation, House of Representatives, that seeks to help struggling local news outlets. Does that have any chance of becoming law, do you think?
Even though it has bipartisan support, the community news.
Yankees baseball is back. In time.
Businesses that advertise in local news outlets. As I say, there is bipartisan support, but there's just so little getting out of Congress these days that it's hard to see it happening at this point, unfortunately. I will say, though, there is a lot of activity happening at the state level. So there are now more than a dozen states that have either passed legislation or are considering legislation to help local news.
Some of these bright spots, at least for now, depend on philanthropic money. I mean, it sounds like some charitable organizations are, seeing the light?
I think foundations across the country are realizing the importance of local news to our democracy. You know, as the CEO of the Knight Foundation said a couple weeks ago, philanthropy is not a business model. And also keep in mind that about 90% or so of all the local news outlets in the U.S. are for-profit commercial news outlets. I don't think that nonprofit journalism alone is going to be the new business model. But I will say that I think this philanthropic effort could be a bridge that could help a lot of news organizations around the country get to the other side, to get from this moment of peril to a moment of sustainability.
Tim Franklin at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism. He leads the Medill Local News Initiative, looking for ways to bolster the sustainability of local news. Professor, thank you so much.
David, thanks for having me.
All our reporting from news deserts in South Texas, North Carolina, and Virginia is now at marketplace.org. Look for Democracy in the Desert. And Oakland, California's airport wants to be known as San Francisco Bay Oakland International. It's all of those things next to that bay in Oakland and International. But a lawyer for SFO, San Francisco International Airport, the big one across the bay, is warning there will be a trademark lawsuit if Oakland goes for this. In New York, I'm David Brancaccio, Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.